When we open up our Bibles to Psalms chapter 27, verse 4, it says there, "One thing have I asked of the Lord." Not two things, not three things, not many things. One thing have I asked of the Lord, and that's what I will seek after. What is it? To dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. To dwell in the house of God. That's the purpose, that's the cry, that's the longing that the psalmist says he has. And that's exactly what you and I need to be having in our life. Nothing else but to be in the presence of God, to dwell in His house. When you look into John 15, He says, "If you abide in me and my word abides in you, ask what you wish." Isn't that amazing? Isn't it powerful? We ask for so many things, but if we would only begin to know that it's all about dwelling in the house of God, seeking Him above everything else, that everything will fall in place. In fact, when we move away from God, that's the beginning of our fall. When we open to Luke chapter 15, we see the prodigal son story. It says, not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey. That means he moved out of his father's house. And now see what happens. It says there, and there he squandered his property. He went through loss, spent everything. A severe famine arose. Famine begins. In his father's house, there is abundance. Here, he's experiencing famine. Then it says further, and he began to be in need. Now, he's in need in his father's house. He had plentiful. It goes further. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into the fields to feed pigs. He's gone to a state now that he's feeding pigs. In his father's house, he was being fed. Now he's feeding pigs. Not just there, it says further that he desired to eat the food of the pigs. Come on. In his father's house, everything was found. Moved out of the father's house, and he began to be in lack. When he comes to his senses, it says there that he realizes that whoever was in his father's house, they had plenty, but he was in lack. All because he moved out of the Father's house. I want to encourage you. It's all about seeking God. It's all about desiring to be in that one place. David knew the secret. Even though he had lost his kingdom, when his son Absalom was out to get his life, he cried not for the kingdom, he cried for God. And God restored the kingdom. I want to encourage you. Dwell in the presence of God. Seek after the Father. Seek to dwell in Him. Long to grow in Him. When you go for services, when you go for meetings, when you sit to pray, it's all about, God, I want to dwell in your presence. I want to hug you. I want to grow in you. And I tell you, you will never be in lack. Move away from Him and you will see your downfall. God bless you.